Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, today's video, we're going to be building Keelan, and I'm going to be giving you my take on how I would essentially play Keelan. So, let's get right on into today's video. Starting off with the modules on Keelan. Now, I think that the best way to play Keelan is by, of course, taking advantage of his second ability, which is his dash ability. Now, if you use his red module, you can essentially get infinite dashes, which is more so what this build is going to be aimed towards. Now, if you don't use his red module, you can still use this build. You just need to dash into the mobs, and then you would also need to use your fourth ability to get an extra grapple, so on and so forth. But essentially, I am going to be using Keelan's red module. I am aware that it tanks the damage, but this is my personal preference when playing Keelan. So that is the first thing. Now, I've already put mid-air maneuvering. The maneuvering module really does not matter anyways, because with Keelan, we're just going to be instant dashing, and we're going to spam the dashes instead. So that's what we're going to be going with. Now, of course, to spam dashes, you can see that cooldown from 50.9 seconds. We're going to make that lower. So for cooldown, we are going to go with the following. We are going to be going with, where is it? Focus on singular, because of course you can see this ability is a singular ability. So we're going to be going with focus on singular. Then we are going to be going with, where is the toxic one? Focus on toxic. Shove that down over here. So we've got focus on toxic as well. As well as that, we're going to be going with the amplification modules, but we'll deal with that in a second. Let's just finish off with MP conversion, and then let's also put nimble fingers on here. Now you can see already with just these four modules on, our cooldown has gone to 10 seconds. Pretty good. That's usable cooldown, because remember, ideally we just want to cool his third ability down so that we can spam his 3 into infinite looping. So 10 seconds of cooldown is not too shabby. Now the next thing we're going to need to do is, you see that duration over there underneath on Adventurous Spirit, we're going to need to make the duration slightly longer than the cooldown on this. So to maximize our duration, in order to take advantage of this as well, we'll go with maximize duration and skill extension. Now when we have a look at this now, you can see that we're almost there. 10.1 seconds on the cooldown, and then 7.1 on the duration. So we are making progress now. Other than that, let's also throw in some range. So for range, we are going to be using expansion, and then on top of that, we are going to be using the amp mods, like I said. So amplification, I'm gonna come back to this slot up here in a moment, but first of all, let's stick on toxic amplification and singular amplification. Now with Keelan, this module slot here is essentially a free slot. This is where I used to put HP, but there's a few options in this anyways. So it's either spear and shield if you would like to have, you know, some pretty crazy defense. Don't worry, the number spikes up once we've got the build almost done. But spear and shield is an option for more defense and more damage. Other than that, we've got amplification control as another option as well, if you want even more range, almost reaching the cap. I do think the range is a very nice touch on Keelan, so I myself personally will be using the range. If you do want to run a HP module, then, you know, slap a HP module over here anyways, but personally I am going to be going with amp control because I like the additional range with this setup. Next up, let's talk about the reactor. So for the reactor, I have gone with a sniper rifle mounting and a hand cannon mounting. The reason the hand cannon mounting is on here is because the one-man army, I'm going with the malevolent with Keelan. So you can see here, I've gone with the hand cannon mounting for that reason. Next up, I've got toxic and singular in the middle for, of course, you know, toxic and singular damage, which is what you're going to need for the game. And then for the two substats, there is a substat that I am missing. Ideally for max damage, you would want cooldown, and you would also want singular. I've got cooldown and skill cost, so I'm not performing at the absolute peak of what Keelan can do. Bear that in mind. But Cooldown is going to be absolutely essential on your reactor. That's something you cannot miss. And then the other stat could either be toxic or singular for damage, or range if you want to hit range cap. But for the most part, cooldown and singular is going to be the best. Now let's go on over the external components. Now with the external components, there's pretty much only one option with Keelan, and that's going to be the plague set. Now we are using all 4 plague pieces. This is because of the 4 sets major buff on toxic. 43% toxic is very big, and that's something we definitely want to take advantage of, as well as the custom resource toxic skill power plus 21. So, you know, overall plus 64% on toxic skill power. So, you know, that's a pretty big damage. We want to take advantage of that. And then not to mention, we also get a singular buff on our damage as well. Now for your external components, for your cores, you're just going to want to run max HP and defense across all of these cores anyways. Then for your substats on here, you are going to want to ideally get max HP on the top substat. I do not have that. MP recovery out of combat, MP recovery in combat, and MP recovery modifier don't make a difference on Keelan because he literally does not use MP. So if you do get the MP stuff, then it's going to be a little bit better with Freyna. With Keelan, I would recommend getting the fire resistance, max HP for this top substat, chill resistance, and HP recovery modifier for the sensor if you want to farm the specific one, electric resistance and defense, and then toxic resistance and max shield for this one. But if you're going with a generic set for Freyna, then just get all of the MPs, and max shield should be good enough. Now you can see already I have 30,000 defense with Keelan and 1,000 shield and 7,500 HP. But that is all without even using the Arche tuning tree. So now let's get on into the tree you are going to want to run for this build. Now immediately we are going to be going towards damage. For Keelan, we want to be maxing out the damage and pulling as much damage off as we can. Next up, we are going to be going towards cooldown. That is another essential. Now we've got 9 points free. I would recommend just, you know, going up towards this mutant cell node over here and going with Arche efficiency. Whenever you hit, you basically get more power, which is going to be a nice touch for Keelan. Now we've got 4 nodes left over. So what I would recommend for this one is 1, 2 is going to be your first call, and then 3, and for your final node you can get a little bit of fire resistance, or alternatively you could get some skill power over there. That would also be a nice touch. So this is essentially the tree that you're going to want to go with. It's got everything we need: touch of extra range, damage, cooldown, a little bit of HP if you need it, a little bit of quality of life over there. So that's exactly what you are going to want to run with Keelan. Now you can see here, for range, are we at the max? We're very close. So, you know, we're basically set. Now for the Malevolent, I do use the Malevolent with this just to deal with the mobs. Now my substats are more designed towards Purge 35, which is primarily where I use the Malevolent, which is also the reason I have Toxic on my Malevolent. Now for the modules on here, this is what I would recommend. These 3 are open for your element. Let's say, for example, you want to use Toxic. You would want to put the enhancement module on, the priority module on, and then the circulation module on. So any of them for any element, toxic, fire, electricity, or chill. You just want to be using the 3 enhancement mods, and that will basically work best. In this instance, I am going to change this over to fire because I personally prefer using the fire. So yeah, just, you know, make your elements accordingly and you should be good to go. Now for your inversions with Keelan. With Keelan's inversions, they're pretty much optional. You don't even need adrenaline rush because infinite speed dashes. Biodensity augmentation is a nice touch because, you know, a little bit of extra HP. Neurostim, he doesn't even use MP. He doesn't use MP either. I guess if you do want to turn probabilistic on for a little bit of HP. That is an option. And then honestly, just going with whichever rounds you're going to be going with your element. And you don't even need the cooldown. You don't need the weak point. There's really not too much to recommend. I would just go with Biodensity Augmentation, Probabilistic Recovery System, and then a rounds module. In this instance, I'm going with Toxic rounds just because my Malevolent is toxic. Now we've got the Keelan setup out of the way, let's get on into some Keelan gameplay. Okay, so let's run a dungeon, a 400% with Keelan. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just use your second ability 5 times, and then you can already infinite with your 3, and then it's just essentially about how well can you just track out all the mobs. Now with Keelan, just make sure to keep an eye on your third ability. Whenever you can use your third ability, just make sure to use it, like that over there. I can use it, we're going to do it. And then it's just about dashing into all of the mobs really. And it's a simplistic build, it's fast, it's very fast paced, but it's also really fun. Now, if you do prefer, or you do play on console, then I do believe there is an option for you to bind or mess around with your settings in order to allow you to change your rotation with Keelan really fast. So like you can have something set up to allow you to like 180 with Keelan really fast. I'm not 100% sure what it is, so you'd have to like mess around in your settings basically, but for the most part you can see how this works. And I'm just dashing. The bitrate I hope is not dying from it, otherwise that would be kind of rough. But you can see just in general, you just want to dash around and through everything, and that's basically the main way to play this build. Now the next level up, if you will, would be allowing yourself to learn all the spawns and basically spawn trapping mobs as they spawn with Keelan, which is not difficult. This man moves incredibly fast, and his damage is great as well. You can see even here, I am taking care of everything in like literally one dash. I am given, even though I am in a solo, even in a squad, he would still be capable of doing plenty of damage regardless. So do not sleep on this man. Trust me, Keelan is a lot of fun, and he's also very fast. He's the only Descendant in this game that is actually faster than Bunny. And even when it comes to elites, you can see here I am doing very much a lot of damage with Keelan. Even here, I'm just gonna quickly destroy this dude's head. Okay, never mind. I ended up destroying all of him instead. That wasn't part of the plan. Let's destroy just his head now. There you go. You see even here, just in general, a few dashes with Keelan and even the elites can't survive. Great Descendant and plenty of damage. Maybe not the fastest run in the world solo, but in a squad, definitely a fun Descendant to play. You can just dash ahead. If you want to bully the bunnies, this is the build that you're going to use.